I'm Aaron.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Apple.
Hi, guys.
What's happening, man? So go, yeah.
Rory, Jonathan just said who he was. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody, and then we'll get over.
I'm Rory. I'm Rory here. I play the drums.
Yeah,
Sweet.
You do. Yes, you do.
Right.
You guys. So before,
Wait, but did Luke get to go?
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. Hey, sorry, I was wrapped up in these guys' intro. I'm Luke. I play bass. I play some synth, and sometimes I sing a little bit or just talk in the microphone.
okay. Right on, man. So I owe you guys an apology. I think we scheduled this like 3 different times. All of us. So like you guys canceled once, we canceled once, and then another time something else happened. I'm sorry, man. That's not how we usually roll. But we finally did it. So
no worries at all. No, that was on our bad too. And I thought it was fitting, man. It's no simple road.
Yeah, no shit, right? So, something weird that happened around us finding out about you guys. So we were listening to you on the porch one day, and then like a couple of days later, I heard from your management. So that was odd. Then we booked the interview with you guys. And the day we booked the interview, like an hour later, one of my buddies texted me and he's like, have you heard of these guys? And it was you guys. And he's like, you got to listen to this. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. Something's happening with these cats. So you guys, I know that like 2020 is an asshole and it was a real drag for everybody, but I'm curious, like, how has it been for you guys coming out of that and coming into the new year? Like there's stuff happening with you guys. How's it feeling?
Yeah, it feels good. We're proud of the way that our band and our team has been able to react to the way the music industry changed. We were fortunate. We were on the road when COVID first started, and so our tour got cut short. We came home in quarantine and just kind of went through the motions like everybody else, but eventually started working together again. And we were fortunate to not be too far from each other to where we could still like operate in a small bubble and work at our studio, rehearsal space, music school that Johnny has, the music cellar. So we made a conscious effort to take advantage of it and get a lot of recording and writing and work done that we normally couldn't do on the road. And we were able to do that. And our team's been able to crush it with merch and finishing this album and other recording projects. So we're grateful. And we've also worked hard throughout this time. So it's been cool in the absence of shows, but we miss those too,
Wow. So you didn't skip a beat. You just were like, okay, we're doing this now. Like pivot easily. Wow.
Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah. We tried as best as we could. Yeah.
It's kind of a lot like your music, how you guys switch it up.
For real.
How to adapt. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. You get bored of one thing. It was refreshing for us to record more and work on projects we always wanted to, and we got to dabble in the film score world a little bit and all these things that are hard to make time for when you're touring a lot. So it was nice to be able to take advantage of that time.
Where are you guys?
Millerton, New York is where Johnny is.
Yeah, we all met in high school in Northwest Connecticut. We grew up in small towns in Northwest Connecticut. Luke and Rory were in grade school together. I met them in high school. I actually met Rory in like a regional band where like the got together and did like concert band. He had frosted tips and a corn t-shirt on, and he asked me what kind of drum set I had. I told him it was a Pearl. He's like, me too. So we bonded over that.
Oh yeah.
Same area, and now we're not far from there. Our studio's like 15 minutes from where we grew up.
Right.
That's nuts.
You guys are like in the pocket with each other. Like that's a long time to know each other. And how long out of that time has it been music based? The whole time?
All of it, sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much, right? I mean, I guess from the first conversation with John and Rory, Rory and I met in grade school a few years before we got together in high school. And yeah, I saw Rory's band play in 6th grade, and me and my friends wanted to start a band. I convinced my mom to buy a guitar. And yeah, it's kind of always been music at the core.
Wow.
It's cool.
Something weird about that is like me and this guy have been friends since I was like 12 and he was 13. You're 51.
Yeah,
right?
51 now. Yeah, it was a long friendship here.
And yeah, and being friends that long, like there's a lot of nonverbal communication that goes on after knowing somebody for that long, like telepathic level shit that happens. And him, obviously we don't play music together, and I've always wondered like if that would carry over into playing music. Do you guys find that because you've been friends for so long that it's easy to maneuver in that nonverbal space when you're playing?
Yeah, definitely. There's a shorthand that's not. It's definitely like kind of unspoken in a lot of ways. And even to that point, when you do have to speak about it, you can get to it a lot quicker because you have that common ground.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely like an unspoken kind of just reading body language or whatever it may be. Definitely plays into the communication for sure.
It's a trip to know somebody like that and know, like you said, their body language and their nonverbal cues like that. And in playing music together and finding that space, was that something that happened like from the get-go, or is it something that you've had to cultivate over time?
Like
that.
I mean, we first got together like and played music together. I mean, when the three of us got together at John's house, you know, I mean, the first we joke about it, like the first songs we played together were Primus's "Greet the Sacred Cow" and Radiohead "Lucky," which are two like pretty random songs from each band. But I mean, that kind of was, I guess, you know, foretelling of like the different music we'd be into playing together. And yeah, it was always, music was always at the root of it. We played in different bands together. Rory and I had played in bands when we were younger. I mean, including like a Slipknot cover band. John and I played in like a kind of like reggae-ish jam band too. So we kind of ran the gambit with all different bands we played together. And Lespecial was always just a vehicle where we could kind of combine all of those things and not really have to fit to a, you know, any kind of standard or anything, and just kind of always be able to do our thing and explore. And so it's been cool to still do that all these years later and still kind of feel like we have that freedom.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's fucking cool to like be able to do that with your best friends. Right?
Yeah, to grow up together. Yeah. And in terms of like what Rory was saying, in terms of does it help playing together, what helps a lot is growing up listening to different music together and going to festivals together, playing festivals together. We just have a lot of the same reference points.
Yeah.
So it's simple to be like, yeah, like let's make this kind of sound like this era, this band. Like let's go for like a mid-90s Medeski Martin and Wood vibe on a jam, where some musicians would be like, what the fuck does that mean? Like for us, we know exactly what it means. You know?
Yeah. That was one of the things that really like drew me into your music, is that you can't put your finger on it, first of all.
No.
Well, it's because it keeps changing up, which is so rad.
Mhm.
You just starting to get into the groove of that, and then it switches up, and it forces you to pay attention, which I love.
Is that just a natural, like a natural outpouring of the influences that you've had over time, or is that calculated? Is that something that you guys are like, I want to have this kind of music come out?
It's funny. It's not really something we ever consciously talk about, but it is something that people comment on a lot. Where like, is that a conscious decision to go from like a dub feel to a metal feel? And not really. It's not like we're sitting there being like, how can we fake out the crowd? You know what I mean? That's never.
Right.
That's not the goal. If anything, we're always trying to make things more cohesive. But I think just our personalities and our individual music styles are very eclectic, and so it can, you know, trying to find that common thread is something we discuss more than how can we make this part different or change.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I guess it's just kind of how we compose, I guess. And when you're composing, it's always like, you know, you're discussing things in sections. Should we do this for 4 bars? Should we do this for 8 bars? Should we do this? Should we do that? And there's an element where if you don't, you can think about it a lot, but if you don't overthink it, I think for us naturally, things just change up quickly. That's kind of just how we are. I'm not really sure how to put a finger on it. I guess.
You know, from a listener, from a fan standpoint or a listener standpoint, it can feel like that you're trying to fake us out, because it's like you're taking us on a trip this way, and then all of a sudden we're going in the other direction completely. But I get what you're saying. Like, it doesn't come across, at least to me, it doesn't come across as like disparate. It's very fucking cohesive. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that you guys have this like common ground that you're coming from, and all of these awesome reference points that are feeding into this energetically, and then it comes out as this wonderful Lespecial. And it's such an apt name for the band, because it's special, it's different. And that was like, the guy that texted me that day was like, this is different than anything I've heard in a really long time. Have you guys been getting that kind of feedback from people a lot?
You guys want to answer? I've answered all of them.
Come on, John.
Rory, you got this one.
Rory, you're up.
It's hard because there's that lag on Zoom. It's like you're like, who's jumping in? I've been taking lessons and teaching lessons.
Yeah,
there's always a delay. You show someone a riff, and then there's
you're kind of waiting.
Latency sucks.
We're learning it. Yeah, take that one, Rory. I know you'll have something good to say about that.
You guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're good.
I just got this disclaimer saying my internet connection is unstable.
Okay.
So as long as you can hear me,
we got you.
Yeah, I mean, we get that comment a lot, and it's like, that's sort of the best thing I could hear from somebody, is that if like they haven't heard anything like it, because to me that's intriguing, and that's something that someone's going to come back for, or they're going to show their friend that music, and they're going to be that much more likely to pass it on to their friend if it's something super unique and they haven't heard it before. And is that a deliberate thing? Are we trying to make something that's just so unique and wacky that no one has ever heard it before? I think that's more of a natural, organic process of ours. It just comes out that way. And we're kind of a sum of our influences at the end of the day, and those are ever evolving from one day to the next. There's a lot of common threads of like the progressive rock and kind of pushing the boundaries of what we can do on our instruments, and that's been something lately where we've been trying to compose in a way that's, at least I've been thinking about things lately with like, what can I not play yet, and what can I write that I'm gonna be pushing myself to perform in the future, kind of pushing the boundaries of that. But as far as like hearing that from a lot of people, I guess people say that from time and time again. What the original thing you said was what you've never heard anything like that or something, or it's like a really unique sound or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that we've had a lot of people reach out after this album, which has been awesome. A lot of musicians and fans and people that have either just heard the band for the first time or been friends with us for a long time. Obviously, we've been playing together, for like 15 years. And so we have a lot of friends that have been with us throughout all that. And so it's been cool to hear from people from all kind of walks of life about the record. It's gotten a really good response. We're definitely really proud of it. So we were happy that other people felt that way too, and it's just a weird, unique time to put out music right now. And even though it sucked to not tour behind it, I think it was accessible in a way, because a lot of our fans and friends and colleagues were chilling at home and got to like digest an album and weren't maybe as busy or active as they normally are. So it's been weird. It's constantly unfolding differently, but it's been a cool experience to release an album during this time, honestly, and the feedback has been really awesome. So we have that to be thankful for sure.
You said something there I want to touch on. Like, we kind of talked about it at the beginning of this, but this is, I'm talking like 2020 coming into this year on a personal level. It's fucking hard, man. It's rough. And I don't know about you guys, but like, even down to identity has been a question at times, because we're not out doing anything, I think as a band or a podcast, a lot of your identity can be wrapped up in that thing. You are Lespecial. We are No Simple Road. Like, it's that thing. And then you kind of lose that distance between you and that, you become it. And then when it stops, it's really hard to figure out that new space. And you talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the interview about how, like, you just kind of pivoted and made the best of everything. But I want to get into that a little bit with you guys. Like personally, have you had to change the way that you approach your music based on everything that's happened?
Yeah, that's deep, and you're totally right. It's a great question. I think that with the isolation, everyone's had to kind of relearn how to be with themselves, and I think a lot of people have been able to work on themselves and improve areas of their life. Not everyone's been that fortunate. People are dying, people are sick, people are in situations where just the need to survive outweighs self-betterment. So in that sense, I'm super grateful that we have a band and we have this family that we've been able to work on and kind of get our mind off everything. We have an outlet, and not just as musicians, you as well, as creators, as anybody, and not everybody has that. So, it's nice to be able to have that outlet to express yourself artistically and not just go on Twitter or Facebook and scream at strangers, which everyone does too. But I think that that's the shitty side of it. And the good side is hopefully a bunch of cool art and music will be coming out soon as people start to get together again. But
Yeah.
it's wild.
It's tough. It's really mixed blessing in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you bring up a good point, man. Like the thing about being grateful, you have to have gratitude because you have that outlet, you have that thing, and you have your brothers around you, and you have your fans, and that's fucking huge, man. And like you said, there's people that are hurting and all that, but I just wonder, like, because this is completely selfish that I'm asking you guys this question, honestly, like, because we've had to change the way that we do the show because we were going from festival to festival, from show to show.
Things changed, so we had to,
and we had to fucking figure it out. And honestly, at the beginning of this thing, like I was going, how the fuck do we continue doing a live music podcast? There is no live music. It's not happening. And it made us like dig deeper. Have you found that like the music is coming from a different place now?
I think early on we were channeling it a little bit, maybe the isolation or something. We did like a more mellow set stream in our studio.
Mm-hmm.
It was April. A lot of
all sad songs.
Yeah, a lot of sad piano songs. Felt good to wallow a bit, I suppose.
Yeah. But
we have some new material that I guess sort of deals in a broad sense with, the state of the world. We're big fans of this band Gojira, who sort of has a global vibe to a lot of their heavy, very powerful music.
Mm-hmm.
We have some new stuff cooking up that, you channel what surrounds you and your environment. So yeah, I guess everything's in there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a good point.
That was another thing that struck me about you guys is the lyrics to the songs. It's not bullshit. There's some real meat in there.
Substance.
Yeah. And is that a collaborative thing when you're doing lyrics, or is it one of you that's the poet?
So we're big Rush fans, and you guys might know, who wrote the lyrics for Rush? Apple.
I got him. Hold on, he's right here.
It was
wow.
Neil.
Okay.
It was Neil.
It was Neil.
It was Neil all the way. Okay.
I
don't think we're releasing video for this, right? But Rory's.
No, we are.
So people can see. Neil Peart, the drummer, wrote I think most of the lyrics or all the lyrics. Do you know, Rory?
Yeah, most of them.
So we want to definitely start exploring that. We all write a little bit. Luke has written some great songs. Optimus Prime slot on the Omni Squid record, and then American Apocalypse on the Sheen record. So I definitely want them to. I want you guys to write some stuff for me to sing. It actually makes my job easier.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
Rory writes rhythms. He's got a notebook full of rhythms there.
Rhythms in here.
That's wizardry as far as I'm concerned.
Rory doesn't have a journal or a dream journal. He writes dream rhythms when he wakes up.
Different things.
Whatever tribal beat is in his head, he has to notate it in his book.
It's actually a list of horror movies that I need to watch. That's a different list. Actually.
Okay, wait. Don't put the list away. I want to know what's on the list.
Yeah,
It's
what do you
from
got?
it's from a pretty obscure '80s horror documentary. It's called In Search of Darkness, Part
Okay.
2. But as they go through the movies in the '80s, I write down the ones I haven't seen. One, Luke has seen Alligator. It's supposed to be really
That's
good.
great, great 70s
Fun.
Chicago schlocky creature feature.
Yep.
Yes.
Fun House and
Apple,
early
you seen Alligator?
Yes.
My man.
Alligator. You like
Oh
it?
yes, we've seen that.
So there you
Sick.
go.
Alligator's a classic.
So I want to see that. I'm into that. We saw Crawl last year. That was pretty good, or the year before.
Oh, yeah.
Fun House, early Toby Cooper.
Oh, you haven't seen Funhouse?
I haven't seen Fun House. It's on the
Oh
list.
my god, yeah, with the little mutant guy who lives in the carnival. That is a great movie.
A couple more. Graduation Day.
You guys can't tell, we watch a lot of horror movies.
Deep
I'm
Red.
loving
I've
it.
seen, but there's a lot on here. Saturday the 14th. Bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
classic.
You're talking
good
about
stuff.
like me and Apple's entire high school life.
Back
right there.
back in the 80s, back in the
Oh,
80s,
yeah.
going to the magazine. Do you guys remember? It was around for quite a while. The Fangora magazine.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I used to
Totally.
get Fangora.
Back
It might even still be around.
Okay, that's
Wow.
I wasn't sure. I went away for a while, then I heard it came back, but there's
Yeah.
nothing like those old ones. I mean, nowadays with CGI, you can do any. There's nothing
Like the ones from the 80s.
about how they made the severed heads and how they made blood
Right.
squirt from stuff, and then
Oh,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
practical effects are why the 80s are so great. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah,
And those movies were not. I mean, okay, they were scary a little bit at the time. Looking back, it's
They were
cheesy,
scary.
but it
Yeah,
was like
some of them for sure.
it was like fucking hilarious. Now, when you look back on it, it's like
Yeah.
holy shit.
one of the best things about the ones from the 70s and 80s was the soundtracks back
Oh,
then,
yeah.
like the John Carpenter
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
That shit's still spooky as hell.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
spooky as shit.
Yeah, that's what set that setting and made you on the edge of your seat and everything.
So
Oh, 100%. Have you guys checked out, John Carpenter just released an album called Lost Themes 3. He's released 3 of these volumes. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
No.
Yeah, write it down. Yeah, they're
Okay.
great. They came out a couple weeks ago. He composes a lot of the music with his son, and some of it is unused music from movies he did in the 80s. Some of it is new compositions, but man, it's just like this Miami Vice nightmare vibe. It's like really fucking cool, like vaporwave horror movie stuff. It's awesome. John
Okay.
Carpenter's one of my favorite composers.
stuff to put on when you're laying in bed in the dark at night.
Exactly.
Yeah, good shit.
All right, so guys, if you could take any old horror movie and redo the
Score.
I'll redo it.
That's a great. So I don't know if you guys know that around Halloween this year, we actually did at a drive-in movie. We did a live score to the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
no,
Just a old silent horror movie. Yeah. So we've done that. We talk about that a
that's
lot.
rad.
Oh,
Okay,
shit.
that's really cool.
Oh,
Yes.
good.
Yeah. That was. If you guys or anyone listening wants to check it out, the whole thing's up on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Okay.
You can also download the audio on our Bandcamp. But what's really cool is our friend Jules Jensen put our audio to the actual, maybe not the original, but to the actual movie. So you can go on YouTube and you can watch the movie with the Lespecial score.
Oh, that's
Wow,
okay.
That's
Yeah.
we're
That's
doing
gonna be
that.
something we got to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Have
You
Yeah.
guys
you
will vibe to it.
Have you guys watched it with your score?
Yeah, we've checked it out.
You've seen, I've watched bits and pieces. I haven't
I
watched.
haven't
I
watched
watched
it
the
all
whole.
the way through,
Okay.
but
We
I've
watched
checked
the
it out
movie
enough.
so many times, but working on
Yeah.
it, I think we all like needed a serious break from that movie.
In
The bits and pieces I've watched, it works better than I even thought it did, and it was one of our
Yeah.
favorite shows we ever did. It was a really cool production, and that's I guess another example of, hey, we got to pivot and take advantage of something. As soon as drive-in shows became a thing, we were like, oh shit, we have to do a movie score. I'm still surprised not as many bands did it, but it was really cool, and it's something we definitely hope to do more of in the future, this summer,
Yeah.
this spring, or whenever.
yeah.
That's awesome, because that's all I was thinking about today driving home, listening to you guys. Like, it feels like
Cinematic.
you guys, yes, very, cinematic, very dramatic, very big, it like holds the space or creates a space even,
Mhm.
So to know that, I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, cool.
that'll be a fun one. And it's cool to see what everybody's doing. Like you were just saying, the stream thing. No, none of us, I'm sure you guys aren't. I mean, it's become funner, but everybody wants to be at a live show and everything. But it's amazing to see what everybody's pulling together. Like Aaron showed me this morning, you guys, it's coming up in March. You're doing the whole Primus thing, which obviously I love Primus. I've seen them probably like 7 times, and hope to see more of what I just look very forward to seeing that, what you guys do with that.
How did that come about?
Yeah, talk about that for a minute.
That's a major synchronicity, Apple, because I was just going to ask you, when you mentioned going to high school in the 80s, I was going to ask you if you, my next question was if you remember Primus coming up.
Yeah, yes,
dude. Yes, it was seminal for us at the time.
I'd love to know when you first saw them, because we're studying their music hard, listening to podcasts about them constantly.
First time I saw them was, I'm pretty sure it was for Frizzle Fry. I didn't know who, I can't remember who they were opening for somebody, and didn't even know who they were. And then all of a sudden you see this, I compare that to the same time like I saw Tool for the first time.
Yeah.
Like Les Claypool and Maynard are those type of characters that like make such an impression with their different style of music and the way they look too, like the whole persona. But I remember that was the first time.
What year was that, Apple?
Oh God, this would have been high school. This would have been high school.
Where are you guys from? Where did you grow up?
Las Vegas.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So you saw Primus and Tool out in Vegas and this
Yeah.
time?
Dude, the first time I saw Tool was at a dive bar opening for Blind Melon.
Whoa.
And
in Vegas?
In Vegas.
Holy shit.
And Maynard was as far from me as the camera is right now, like maybe 8 feet. And this place is like pretty empty. And he sang the whole set yelling at me. And when the show ended, I was with my friend Rico, and I looked at my friend Rico and I was like, those guys are going to be fucking huge someday. And he was like, they fucking suck. No way. And I'm like, mark my words, dude, they're going to blow up. And like within a year, they were Tool, and
man,
that is something that like one of the first things that came to mind when I heard you guys is them. Like, not to compare, but it has that same drive. Your music has that same
raw, kind of heavy, grounded
in there
in horror movies and different things, and metal and Korn. Like hearing about I just had to look that up though to get a timeline of that. So Frizzle Fry, it came out in 90. So I was I graduated high school
we were
in
out
87.
of school.
So I think it could have even been at Lollapalooza, because those started. I went to every one of them. They started in 90 or 91. And then I saw them, and that's another one that made an impression. I saw them in Vegas several times. Every time Les Claypool played Vegas at the Aladdin Theater, he would come, he'd do a number in full Elvis regalia. He would come out with like a big fake pompadour hairdo with the cape and all the sparkles and everything like that. And those guys, I mean, they just put on such a hell of a show that was just so different than any of the other music. I mean, you hear his bass first off, and it's like, what the fuck is this?
Is that a bass?
Yeah. And then they come out with Sailing the Seas of Cheese. I mean, like everything they did, they always took it to a whole nother level. And, Tim Alexander, they're just masters of what they do.
What made you guys
so different
decide to take this on?
I mean, Primus is one of the biggest influences on us, I would say, as well as Tool. Those are bands that we've listened to since we were kids. I mean, me and Rory have been like jamming Primus songs since we were literally 15, We saw Primus for the first time in 2003 on the Tour de Fromage, and it was a pretty life-changing show. I'd been a big fan, and just the way that they were approaching that material and jamming on it, and these big, heavy, dark sounds, it was incredible. And so we've played a lot of Primus throughout our career, the three of us. Just let my hand out here. There you go, Claude Rouge. He comes in as he pleases. But so we've always been playing Primus songs. We've done Primus sets at festivals. We've even done a Lespecial Plays Oysterhead set before, and we were scheduled to do some more of them this past summer. But basically, when the more that we talked about it, the Frizzle Fry thing just had come up casually, where we know so many songs off the album. We kept saying like, we could just do Frizzle Fry, and every time we learn a new song, we're closer to doing Frizzle Fry. So it was a set we've been talking about for a couple of years. And then when quarantine started and the conversation about stream started, the Lespecial Plays Frizzle Fry was always kind of at the top of our list of things we wanted to do. The album obviously was a focus. Then we did the New Year's stream. A big idea there was to play the songs off Ancient Homies live for the first time, and that was a big undertaking with that production and to learn some of these songs for the first time. So then we got to totally pivot again and just do something new. And Frizzle Fry was a crazy cool challenge, but it was something to build on that we've been working on our whole lives, really. And now seemed like a cool time to just bunker down and do it. And it's been a wild challenge, but it's been really fun for all of us. We've been I've guested on the Primus Tracks podcast a couple times. These guys are both going to go on there as well. It's an awesome podcast, and so we've been chatting with Tim Soya, who used to be their tech, and just I'm giving a lot of bass lessons to kids that are learning Primus stuff. So I've just been very much in Primus world lately. And it's been
Weird
fun.
world.
It's a good word. Yeah.
It's a weird world. It's a weird and wonderful world for sure. But yeah, we've all been working our asses off, and we're excited about this. So this is gonna be something cool for us for sure, I think, and hopefully for everybody else.
March 12th, is that correct, Luke?
Yeah, March 12th, Friday. We're calling it Frizzle Friday.
Frizzle Friday.
Friday.
We'll be there.
Awesome.
You know, you mentioned something. Go ahead, Apple.
Oh no, I was going to back up just for a sec because I just remember one of the ones that, God, I forget what album was, where it was '94. Seeing them at Lollapalooza. I was up in Denver, and it was like Dinosaur Jr., Primus, Alice in Chains was one of the headliners, and
Wow.
that's when I first heard Tool. When he was talking about Tool, we're watching Dinosaur Jr., who was huge at the time. Loved Jay Mascis, but
We saw them play with Primus actually.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and then they're great. That's a great bill together. But we're watching Dinosaur Jr., and all of a sudden we hear on the side stage, we just hear this, and it's like overpowering, even though it's not turned up as loud as the main stage. All the crowd started kind of leaving Dinosaur Jr. goes see what was going on, and here's Maynard in his he had the Liberty spikes and everything, the lumberjack pajamas with the ass flap down, with his ass hanging out, and just like spewing and making these beastly noise, and that was another game changer. I just wanted to back up to that, because that was another band like Primus that came along, and it also reminds us of you guys. It's like something you'd never heard before. It had pieces of so many things, of like, obviously they liked Iron Maiden and all the bands that did that thing, and Dio with the big productions, but then the rawness of Black Sabbath, early 70s, like all these things brought together, but presented in their own unique way. I mean, these guys are just masters of that. And Tool, they're one of the best to me at doing that.
And it's a good point. It's cool to hear you tell a story like that so early in their career. To me, one of the most amazing things about Tool is their longevity.
Yeah.
We got to go and see them on the Fear Inoculum tour at Mohegan Sun, which was a pretty small place for them to play. That was an amazing experience. And right when we started tracking some of the songs for Ancient Homies was when they started releasing Fear Inoculum. Like the day we went to the studio to record Snell's Fleet, which is a pretty Tool-inspired song.
An amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Thank you. They released the Fear Inoculum single that day. So it was incredible to just this album we never knew would come as like lifelong Tool fans, and for it to come and be as incredible as it was and as like grandiose and epic was super inspiring too. And just the riff lords, they're just riff lords.
Yeah. So you guys go all three together. You got to catch the tour before it was canceled. That was my writer, his nephew that lives with us. March 11th up here at Moda Center in Portland. That was our last show. As we found out, they were trying to cancel the show before it happened, but they weren't able to. You already had 20,000 Tool fans inside the venue.
Wow.
So they had to let it go. And as we were leaving, they were taught that everything was locked down. They're like, NBA has been canceled.
Yeah.
As we're leaving on March 11th. So that was like the last show I got in right under the COVID.
Maynard
epic last show.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude. I mean, the effects and everything that they brought to this tour just is
it was unreal.
Mind blowing. Nobody could stand up, is all I remember. We were taking turns, like took a little sacrament or something to have a good time, and you tried to stand up, and the visuals and the music would just knock you back down, and you're like, okay, I gotta sit the fuck down, man.
It floored you. That production was unreal, and the sound was they just keep raising the bar. It's incredible.
That's a theme for you guys too. You said the same thing about Primus raising the bar, and you guys are kind of like going at that higher stake. So what's after this? What's coming next?
Mhm.
Touring with Tool and Primus.
Ah, hell yeah!
No, having them open for you. That's what's next.
That's the ultimate, I guess.
Yeah.
That's dope. I love that answer. That's great.
So I'm curious. Go ahead.
No.
I'm just curious,
Please.
talking about that, like where things are going forward. How's it looking back there with you? I mean, we're starting to see like Florida, the South are starting to really kind of open up and having shows and stuff. I'm just wondering how it's looking for you guys. Anything on the books or still?
Well, it's encouraging to see things start to open back up and venues and things like that. You know, our management and agency, Claw, shout out our manager, and Steve Contreras at Royal Artist Group and Jamflow Management, they've been crushing it for us and just haven't missed a beat, and they're just constantly ear to the ground and looking for opportunities and getting inquiries. So we're constantly booking shows, but the things, you know, as they are, shows just keep getting pushed back. So things that were in April, now are in May, now are in July. So things are on the books, but they, you know, are getting pushed back as things change. We do have a couple things that are announced. We'll be playing at Gibber Jazz, some kind of jam festival in Pennsylvania in April. We're going to be headlining that with our friends, the Magic Beans from Colorado. That's a really cool festival. I don't know if you guys have checked that out. It's very like it's pretty, you know, it's Pennsylvania, a lot of regional bands, but it's a lot of cool like up and coming prog bands and weird bands and heavier bands. So we've played that a lot, and that hopefully will still happen. I don't know. Is there anything else that is? We have things in the. I don't know if I can say things that are
No, I
happening.
get it.
No, yeah, I get that.
Because they don't know either. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
everyone's just playing this weird game together. But the fact that everyone's chomping at the bit everywhere in the industry
Yeah.
is encouraging for everybody. You know?
Yes.
It is encouraging. It really is. It shows that no one's sleeping on it. We're just waiting.
Right.
There was a moment in like April, May, June last year when I was like, I don't know if music's coming back, man. I don't know, you know, like, and now after talking to you guys and other people, there's no fucking way, man. Like you said, everybody's chomping at the bit. Like there's a festival down in Northern California, Hog Farm Hideaway, and they just announced their lineup, and
Beginning of June.
yeah, and so there is stuff like getting ready to come out of the gate, and I think that like what we're gonna see is a renaissance after this, because there's so many people like you guys that have like been in the creative woodshed for over a year, and there's this just wellspring of energy that's waiting to come out, and you know, people have been writing and doing all this stuff. So I, as a fan, like I'm super excited to see what's going to happen, because I know I appreciate the experience way more than I ever did. It's a fucking privilege to get to see a show, and I never thought of it like that before.
Yeah.
Do you guys see it different now playing?
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to play again. But you know, I think that, you know, while it's tough when you think about the venues that have closed, I think that, you know, hopefully some places will reopen. And you know, I think that, yeah, like you said, you know, things are gonna. I think they'll be different and they'll take a while. But I think live music isn't gonna go away, even if things change a little bit for a while. And I think we will get back to the way that things were in packed clubs and things like that. But I think for a while, yeah, it's gonna be outdoor events and less people and spread out and different places. I've seen like more farms in Connecticut have venues than, you know, like certain cities this year, which is weird. But, you know, it's allowed us some cool opportunities that we weren't able to do before. We held a socially distant overnight event at Club Getaway, which is a camp that I grew up at in Connecticut in the Berkshires. And it was podded. It was all pods, limited capacity. You came with the group and you had a cabin for the night, and everybody was really respectful and cool. And the event went off without a hitch, super successfully.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's something
creative.
How does it feel
Yeah.
playing a show like that? Because I'm curious, man, because I haven't been to a potted show, right?
Yeah.
And I've gotten 50-50 from people that have been. Some people are like, fuck, it was awesome, and I had a way killer experience. And then I've talked to other people who are like, I want to be smelling sweat and have people, you know, stepping on my foot and spilling beer on me. I don't
Yeah, I
want
mean,
to
it
be.
depends. Like a lot of people are all good on that. So
Yeah, no shit.
for them, they love it. I think it's kind of cool. The way that it worked was you're with your group of people. Obviously, you need the space for it. People can kind of walk around in between pods, but just keep it to 4 people or whatever the guideline is. And I mean, for everyone there, it was a really special experience. It was in October. It was also everyone's first like live music experience in a long time. So it was really special. It was kind of a proof that it can still happen. It's not going to go away.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, there was no complaints. Like under a starry night by a mountain on a giant lawn with your homies, people liked it.
I was feeling the love too. I was feeling like it didn't feel less than, like, as far as the
No.
from the crowd. You could hear them screaming. You could, see them. When the lights would flash on them. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I agree.
Good to hear. Because Billy Strings just is he still doing it? Yeah, he's still doing it. The Deja Vu experiment, and just watching him, he's playing incredibly. Everything sounds dope, and then they change the angle of the camera, and then you just see nothing, and it was just so shocking to me because he's still playing with that same fervor that but then you see nothing, and of course, like you guys, it's gonna be a little different, but to hear that you guys feel in the love and that it, even if it doesn't need to be crowded, just knowing the people are there, just a little bit of people.
Yeah,
So
I mean that's a great point. That's kind of how it is. I remember Tim Palmieri, our friend, amazing guitarist from Kung Fu and The Breakfast, always said, no matter if it's 20 people or 200 people, you play as hard as you can, no matter what, or something to that effect.
Yeah,
Right.
Has more wisdom, but and it's true. That's kind of that's an outlet that most musicians and performers have. It kind of takes you back to our early days, back to when we were kids. We would play in John's basement, and we would throw what we call basement shows. It would be like Friday, and we'd invite over like 4 or 5 of our friends, maybe sometimes just 3, and they would just we'd set up some chairs, they'd sit around, and we would jam, and they would hang out and smoke bowls, whatever. And it was just kind of us experimenting and jamming for a few of our friends, but it felt intimate and it felt cool, and it was different than just you with the 3 of you playing music. Sometimes there's almost more intimacy, and it can be almost more of an intense experience to play in a small shared space than playing like opening for a band that doesn't give a fuck about us in some giant warehouse or something.
Right.
Yeah, it's become more special. No, but it really has.
Well, yeah, that's about, like I said, it's like seeing Tool on a small side stage. That first time I saw him was so magical in a different way compared to this March 11th, which was magical, but it was blown up in an arena with it's just so much. Music is so sacred in so many different ways, and like some of those are some of the most coveted shows ever.
Right.
Like the Grateful Dead starting out in the 60s with the
same
acid
thing.
tests. Acid test, playing to a group of friends and building from there and getting feedback from your friends and family. And
I wanted to ask you guys too, you just brought up sacred. Your artwork and the brand of Lespecial has a very occult feel to it. Who's in charge of that?
Well, I mean, the art is, it's a collaboration. We don't make it ourselves, but we always talk about it, and we're all involved in the conversations. The hoodie that Johnny has there, that's our Ancient Homies album cover, and that was drawn by our good friend Essex, who's an amazing bass producer and just a really awesome artist. We've always loved his style.
Yeah.
It's kind of cartoony. It's dark, but it's got an edge to it. I mean, me and Rory are definitely really into horror movies. I love occult shit. I just watched 30 Coins, which is some of the dopest Spanish occult horror I've ever seen. Shout out 30 Coins if anyone wants to check that out. HBO.
Okay, I gotta watch that. I gotta record it. I haven't watched it yet.
Shout out Apple. But yeah, I mean, in our Jam Flow management, we have to shout out Claw and Kron. They've been doing an awesome job with some of the artwork and posters. This one I've got framed behind me. Yeah, it has this kind of a bit of an ancient kind of civilization vibe. I don't know. I think we're all just kind of drawn to that sort of thing. That was Lava Labs who did our New Year's Eve print, which is really cool.
That's
that's awesome.
It's really cool. Yeah, he took the little heads there from the Ancient Homies. And his attention to detail on this print, you'll see like there's little like some kind of almost looks like Japanese characters. It's a very cool print. I think they're sold out. But anybody can just check out lespecial.net/merch or store, and any prints we still have are up there, and we totally do have prints for sale.
Dude,
But yeah, I don't know. I guess we like that kind of vibe. We like
Yeah.
dark and kind of psychedelic and tribal and ancient, but you know, has maybe an edge of comic relief there as well, I guess.
I like that the happy part is the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Our edginess is when there's something happy or major.
That's perfect.
Well, you know, there's a definite feeling to that, man. Like, I remember going and seeing Butthole Surfers on acid as a kid, and
Nice.
that talk about darkness. And there was like, but there's no comic relief. Like, you're going to that show and you're gonna leave fucked up. You know what I mean? But with you guys, it's not like that. There is that little bit of like, we're gonna come at you hard, and might hit you in the stomach, but we're gonna pat you on the back too. You know,
Say, let me help you up there, buddy.
yeah. And
What happened?
I appreciate
That's it,
it. I do, man. Like, I love dark shit. I love it, but I love to know that it's not going to take me out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to know that it's not going to fucking end the game. And Lespecial feels like that. You're taking us on a ride, but the ride's gonna stop, and we're gonna go have a beer.
It's a ride. It's not life.
That's cool. I dig that, Aaron. That's a cool way of putting it. I think that, I think darkness and heavy music and stuff like that can be kind of off-putting to people, and we don't want to be like that. We don't want people to feel scared or weirded out or be too abrasive. And we love a lot of metal music, but I can understand how it's too abrasive for some people. Like sometimes for me, I'm really vibing to a groove, and then the vocals, oh, and I'm like, I didn't need that. So it's different strokes for different people, but for us, it's kind of like bands like Tool and Primus. Again, I feel like you have to kind of embrace that darkness to find that light, and that duality is important. And if you're just always, everything's good, man, we're all good, we're straight, and you're like, you sure? You're like, you know what I mean? You gotta,
Well,
it's not always all good, and it's okay.
No.
From darkness comes the light and all that shit. So
I was going to ask, well, you guys probably are, but the prog rock thing with somebody which we discovered not too long ago too, Osric Tentacles. Are you
Hell
familiar
yeah.
with them?
Yeah, they're awesome. I've seen them a couple times in Boston. They might have played that festival Gibber Jazz that I was talking about, whether it was here with us or not. Yeah, they're badass. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one that kind of just has a mix of like so much going on. You have one moment you got a crazy flute player doing stuff, and then it's like just metal riffs and
very 70s prog.
Wolf's gone insane. That's what Osric Tentacles is. The first time we saw it was a video from
the Pong Master Ball.
Yeah, like
right.
2004 or something like that. And it's just like, what the actual fuck am I seeing right now?
So we were like, this is like which I love Jane's Addiction. It was like, this was what Jane's Addiction was trying to be. They took it to a whole, like, we looked at the one dude playing the flute. We're like, you can't out high that guy. That's like the highest dude in the world.
Yeah, nobody's higher than that guy right there playing the flute, dancing around on the stage.
Wow. Yeah, he's probably on another level. I mean,
for sure. Well, the music was actually coming from the ceiling in geometric patterns that night. So, it was a good night. It was a really
you guys are out on another plane vibing.
Yeah, we were having.
They were there with you.
Yes.
Exactly that. Fuck, you just out hide him.
Flashbacks to Osric Tentacles.
You guys, what a fun night.
Yeah. All right. I want to go around like, okay, I don't know if your screens are the same as mine. Let's go. Jonathan, I'm going to ask each one of you one silly ass question.
Like Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, Hollywood Squares before we go.
Nice. Zoom Squares, baby.
So Mel asked me a question a while back, and I've asked one other artist this question, but it took me a day to answer, and I want to see if it doesn't take you a day. What's your perfect day look like?
We almost called the album. We almost called the album "The Perfect Day."
No shit.
Potential potential band name too at one point.
Yeah, it was a joke band name at one point too.
Oh,
great band name.
shit.
The Perfect Day.
All
What
right.
does that perfect day
What,
look
like? Hang on. I'll tell you what mine was.
Hey.
Wake up and I open my eyes and Mel's got a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
That's how the perfect day starts, right? And
hear
then
that.
like we don't have anything planned and we can just hang out and do what we want for the morning, maybe make breakfast, go take the dog for a stroll. Ah, shit, he's going to want to go now that I said that. And be able to do that. And then like maybe have friends over to the house and cook dinner for everybody and hang out. That's a fucking perfect day as far as I'm concerned. Okay.
I don't like all the cooking in that day, but everything else.
I'll cook. So, Jonathan, what's your perfect day?
Man, that's not far off for me, you know. Throw some music in there, some time to like listen to Frizzle Fry, what the hell Larry's doing, and then listen to Frankie and Josh talk about it on Primus tracks. I mean, I've just been so energized, like learning about the Bay Area scene in the '80s and how it was this just potent place for people to be creative and punk rock. And you know, if you think of the context, that during that time that was hair metal and glitz and glamour, these guys were like doing something different. So I don't know, that's inspired this whole project too. So I guess that's the perfect day if I get to kind of explore one of my favorite bands and play it with my bros. It's been really enriching and cool to learn about them, and it just gives you a new angle into music. And so yeah, pretty much what you said, being home and eating a good meal and playing some music.
Cool. Luke?
The perfect day. Well, where to begin? The sun rises soft over the
Love it.
eastern hill. No, just kidding.
Oh, that was a good start,
Good, man. That's that
I
bad
did.
shit.
No, I don't want
Go on.
already it's too bright for me. I want it
go on.
overcast. No, I like overcast days. I lived in England as a kid. I like rain. But yeah, I mean, you know, any good coffee, good food, any day you can play music is a great day in any capacity, whether it's playing a sold out show, whether it's playing in a living room for a few friends, or whether it's playing with two people. That's always a plus. I miss being social and hanging out at the venue or the club and seeing my friends and fist bumping and seeing the bands and how you been, bruh? You know, all that shit. I miss that. And then, but afterwards be able to get that kind of intimate time with whoever your crew is, your girl, your close friends, and just like throw a movie on and smoke a fat spliff, maybe a little hash. You got some of that good Spanish hash, sprinkle on there.
Come to Portland. We got
We
you.
got all kinds of good stuff in Portland.
Apple
Yeah,
manages a dispensary.
Oh, for real, man. We got to get out there, bro.
Yeah,
For
you
real.
do.
But that's my vibe, yeah, and throw on a movie and just chill. So I like it if it has kind of both sides of it. If I can be active and social and musical, and then chill too, then that's a good balance for me.
Right on. All right, Rory, you got a lot to live up to here, man. We got
Yeah, I mean, I get to go last, so I'm going to include a lot of those things. I mean, I love coffee, so good cup of coffee in the morning is my vibe.
yeah.
Good night's sleep. I've been trying to sleep more lately, trying to get my full 8 hours, which I generally do not get when I'm on the road. So a nice night's sleep, good cup of coffee in the morning, some time to practice. I feel like if I don't get to practice my instrument or play my instrument during the day, I get kind of antsy. So get a couple hours of practice in, whether it's by myself or with the guys or with whoever, play some music. Have some time to get outside if you can, if it's a nice day. Spend some time outside. Spend some time with the fam, my son, my girl. And then get some good food in there. Obviously, you got to have some good food in the perfect day.
Fuck yeah.
But you know, the more time I get to play my drums in the perfect day would probably be optimal. So
That was awesome.
and you gotta throw some good weed in there too.
Yeah.
Gotta have some good weed.
I get some weed from
Perfect
Apple
day.
Dispensary in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Weed and or pen, whatever's available.
All of it.
You know,
Guys.
all the above.
I like that. Well, all of it, even Aaron, like all it's all those special
Coffee.
little, like the simple things.
Yeah.
in life, and nobody was like, getting on my jet and going to
No.
Oh
no
shit! Wait, hold on.
stress.
Let me start mine one more time.
Okay.
as the jet
Sun
rose
rises
in
in the
eastern
east.
sun.
My jet is
On my
waiting
jet.
for me. I've got a ton of weed on the jet.
Yes. We're going to Amsterdam.
I'm going to answer. You got it. Yeah.
He's my pilot. Oh.
No.
Yeah, shit. Wait, this day is way more perfect. I'm gonna mix that in. My answer is a combination of those 2 days.
Hell yeah.
You guys, man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for fucking hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see you live. I
Yeah.
can't fucking wait.
Yeah, you guys have become a big soundtrack to our lives in 2020.
Yeah,
man.
Awesome.
When we really needed music.
Something
and I mean,
new.
you guys I wish we would have known about you sooner, but it came at a time that was like really needed. You guys have become very special to us through all this.
Truly.
Oh, that's awesome. Really appreciate it. It was awesome to connect with you guys, and we
Yeah.
hope to hang with you on the Primus stream. Hang out in the chat, say what up. It's been awesome
Absolutely.
to connect with you guys too. Thanks for having us on tonight.
I'm going to stop recording because I want to tell you something. Hang on a second.